And on the phone, of course, we have none other than the one, the only, Mr. Falco, Andrew Falco. Falkous. Hello,
How's
sir.
it going? All right?
Welcome.
Hey.
It's great to have you.
It's lovely. It's lovely to be there, virtually.
The crowd's going wild.
Man, they really got going. I'm honored with a U and without a U.
I was going to say, there is a distinct thing with the we'll go and say the United Kingdom charitably, that, you guys like that U.
We do. I tell you, did I have this conversation with you last time?
I feel like we might have had this exact same conversation.
About the word gubernatorial.
I believe so, yeah.
Because, oh man, you guys take that word for granted so much. Just there in the middle of your political discourse on telly, and it's such a mad word.
It truly is.
It really is. I didn't.
Yeah.
Goober.
It's
what?
not even left. It's not even from left field. It's just, I don't know. The person who put that word on the ledger was really having a laugh. You know.
Gubernatorial.
I
indeed.
have a laugh at it every
Well, of
time
course,
I see it.
senator. You know, the Senate race, and then for the governor, there's a gubernatorial race. Of course, there is.
Yeah, and I got to say, having been someone who lived through the recall election in California, there certainly were some goobers involved.
Oh.
That's a statement of fact, for sure.
I grew up in Florida during those election botches. I know all about goobers and hanging chads.
Geez. It's rough. That's rough. Having nothing to do with hanging chads or goobers.
Okay, let's move on from the goober.
There is a new Christian fitness record in the world, isn't there, Falco?
There is. It's dead nice to release something. It's very nice.
That almost sounds like resignation. There is.
No, exactly the opposite. There's honestly a childlike glee, if you could see it. You know, doing music is lovely, and releasing it and people caring about it is very nice. You know.
Well,
it's a simple equation.
And this is the second record, which some would say is the historically troubled second record, but it doesn't sound very troubled to me.
Yeah, historically troubled. Yeah, no, it was fine. Yeah, no problems whatsoever. Just lots of fun. I had enough written for two, but it was expensive and time consuming to record the drums and everything. So I thought I'll just do one, and then I'll do one next year. Just fun, isn't it? Making music's fun. Sometimes people talk about music and it's like they're talking about making a shirt or something, It's just all those people in bands are pretty much just doing it, because, well, at least start doing it because it's loads of fun.
Yeah, and ideally one does not lose sight of that and go down into the rabbit hole of getting other things involved that have little to do with the creation of awesome things. But
there's a character on a British comedy show, The League of Gentlemen. Have you seen that?
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. What language can I use on your radio thing?
You can use whatever language you would like, sir.
Right. Okay. It's the character who has all the tapes of his old band Creme Brulee in his unit, and the catchphrase is "it's a shit business" whenever he talks about that kind of bitterness.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great character.
And
just about everybody I know is scared of being that person. Of that movement between understanding the joke and then becoming the joke after you've done it for too long.
Sure, and I think also there's a lot of people that sort of treat the cynicism and detachment as kind of a coping mechanism as well, because it's easier to do that than to invest anything into something.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, doesn't it? Sometimes that can make as much of a statement as any statement. But if it's the default and you always go to it, then yeah, it becomes, you become like the nihilists in the Big Lebowski, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then where you are,
you need a little bit more than that.
You're a third-rate Kraftwerk knockoff that's hanging out near a bowling alley.
Yeah.
Autobahn, I believe, was the name. Thank you.
Is that the name of their group?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, you want me to fact check it? Oh,
No, I believe you. I
those
just
are the
didn't
ones
know
that, they were very proud of. They believe in nothing.
And they're called Autobahn. That's
Militantly,
funny.
yeah, absolutely.
That's funny.
They're like a Samuel Beckett play or something.
That movie should really be quoted more often.
I feel like it's quoted plenty, personally.
I don't
Yeah,
care to know.
I think The Big Lebowski's definitely out there. Yeah, I know too many people who, there's that, and there was again a British television comedy series called Catterick about 3 years ago. Even longer ago than that, probably. And everybody I know quotes it so much.
It almost loses
does drive
the fun.
one a little homicidal at times, as funny as it was.
Sure.
You still want the money, Lebowski? We fuck you up?
Fuck you. Fuck the three of you. No. Without a hostage, there is no ransom. That's what ransom is. Those are the fucking rules.
And I love that they have like the music playing the entire time as well.
Yeah.
Like they walk around with a jukebox of their own music when they threaten people.
Around here, you bunch of fucking crybabies.
Cool it, Walter. Hey, look, pal, there never was any money.
Anyway, it's great to listen to movies on the radio show with the musical stalwarts.
That's just
You know why the Cohen brothers are amazing to me, because in terms of like people I know, they split opinion so much. It's amazing. You may as well have people arguing about radical Islam, because at least it would be get less heated. Is that just, I don't know, is that just my experience of people in Coen Brothers films?
So you find that they're divisive then? There's people that are not...
But it's one of those cases where you definitely understand both sides, because as much as I really enjoy Coen Brothers films, there's been at least 20 times, 25 times when I've been watching one where I've wanted to stand up and just shout, get a fucking move on.
Right, exactly.
Get a fucking move. I mean, me and Julia, I know it's not a Coen Brothers film, but we found to a degree the same thing with that film There Will Be Blood, which
Sure.
which we called There Will Be Blood eventually.
yeah.
As good as it was,
That's true.
as good as it was, there's a lot of, it's, I don't know, it's like the gunfighters facing each other at the OK Corral, and imagine that's 2/3 of the film, just you go, no, after you,
They're just looking at each other.
The laborious glacier-like pace of the movie.
I mean, it's a question of making that, stretching that to its, utmost extent, I suppose, but sometimes gets a little, Sorry, I've gone. This is drinking wine for you. I've gone totally off topic as ever.
Wait, no, that There Will Be Blood is where...
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Whoa.
Oops, sorry. That was a little louder than I intended.
Never mind. Never mind. Is that the one where there's the kid that is trying to convert him to his funky religion beliefs, and then towards the end
He adopts the kid, and he's just a very ruthless. It's oil times, like
right, and then at the end, the preacher kid comes to ask him for money or something.
Yeah, and weirdly, and we're just gonna tie it together here. There's bowling involved in that scene as well.
That's true. That's true.
Apparently, it all comes back to bowling.
Apparently, who knew?
I drink your milkshake.
And milkshakes as well.
Ew,
I drink it up.
that's gross. That's gross. It's really grossing me out.
It's pretty gross out
I
of
really
context.
don't like milk that much, and that's just really grossing me out.
Wow.
Fantastic. So we've already gotten to the good stuff.
Moving on. That scene is crazy, though, when that kid comes to ask him
Moving
for
on, but
money.
let's not move on at all and talk about the things we
Sorry,
talked
I
about.
just had to say.
No, it is. It's a crazy ending. I do agree. There was a long wait for anything to happen in that movie for sure. But I do enjoy the film.
Oh no! Every moment of it is absolute quality. That's not the that's not the complaint. But it, I don't know. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I gave it a 7, but I'm a very harsh film critic for a person who
I was
doesn't.
gonna say a 7. Jeez, that'd be like man, Shazam or something, and then on the regular IMDb user list.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. There you go. It's my mark scheme, and I'm sticking to it.
So, what would you feel is the worst movie that you've seen? That's not a proper movie, not something that was doomed to failure or a purposeful turd,
So
such as Sharknado.
Not a giant spiders and bikinis kind of.
Correct. Yes.
That sounds awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Where's that movie?
In I don't know, in a vault somewhere. The worst proper film, which is a film.
Correct.
Oh, I know what the worst film is. The worst film is that film Kids. That's the worst film.
Oh, I never watched that because
It's horrible.
It's
It's a horrible, nasty,
needlessly brutal,
exploitative, morally bankrupt load of shit, which tries at the end to kind of imply that its bad characters are getting their comeuppance in the most unlikely way. It's horrible. I hated it. It made me really angry when I saw it.
and it also and it's a Harmony Korine movie, and it also has the thing that movie could only have existed in that time, because one of the key moments, of course, there's the one character's got to tell the other character, "Hey, I've got AIDS," and there's a whole thing with that, and that would be you could accomplish that with a text message or a phone call from a cell phone. You don't need a whole movie about that miserable experience.
I understand that, but I think I saw it at the time it came out, within a year or so of it coming out, and I think it just relentlessly sold that idea of humans being that dead-eyed, and I don't think the people making it believe it for a second. And I don't know, I've got a bit of a thing as well with that kind of cool, casual, enjoyed violence. It's something I really struggle to watch.
Sure. How do you feel about the work of Todd Solondz then, Happiness and whatnot?
Oh, Happiness is a fantastic film.
I love that movie. That movie's great.
Yeah, I think Happiness is that's a classic.
Yeah, because I think that one's mean and nasty and pretty brutal as well. But it's
different.
It's a better film.
It kind of falls away, that one, and it. I watched. Was Into the Dollhouse? Was that his first one?
Welcome to the Dollhouse. Yes.
Welcome to the Dollhouse. Yeah, I can't recall it, but I can recall watching it.
It's fine.
I don't think it's as good as Happiness.
No.
It's not as interesting.
Yeah.
John Chappell in McCluskey, he used to. Sorry, this sounds like a really shit version of a Lemmy anecdote or something. So just interject if it gets too much. John Chappell used to keep an alphabetical list of all the films that he owned and all the films that he'd seen, which he wrote out in pencil in a big file. And whenever he saw a new film in the A's, he'd have to rub out, erase all the films underneath it.
Oh my goodness!
So he could write in a new A.
Wow.
No, and he had that in alphabetical order for films, but then he had it also arranged by directors.
Whoa.
I mean, he was in his early 20s at the time, but it sounds like something an eccentric Victorian ghost would do.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't sound like as labor intensive as it is, it doesn't sound like it would yield that much of the results.
Because at one stage, I mean, even with my rudimentary computer knowledge, I'm we can make an Excel file,
What, do you have some papyrus? What was he writing this on? I mean,
but
a quill pen.
But he was rubbing it out. So imagine you get to, I don't know what's the most popular A, I suppose because A or E for the. You'd have to rub, and the was right at the top of the list. You'd have to rub everything out and move it on one.
Yeah, what happens when you see Caddyshack 2 or Batman and Robin or something? Some terrible movie.
I don't know. Maybe a compromise was found for that.
I'm guessing he's not still doing this.
Yeah. No. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him.
I was going to say that would be interesting if that was the one thing you did talk about. Hey, remember when you made that list?
Oh, great days. Great, in inverted commas, days in inverted commas. And both of the inverted commas in inverted commas.
I actually purposefully have not seen Kids because of how awful I've heard, and basically everyone I've ever talked to has told me enough about the movie that I was like, I never need to watch it. But my ex-boyfriend, when I first got together with him, randomly he was like, you know that movie Kids? And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I know it. And he's like, I'm in that movie. And I was like, excuse me?
Wow.
Excuse me, what? And there's a montage at the end of the movie where they're showing all these derelict, different scenes of people through the city, I think in New York. And there's like a woman with a shopping cart and a kid sleeping on the sidewalk, like sitting up, but kneeling over with his head like nodding. And he's like all black punk rock. That's my ex-boyfriend nodding off, and they didn't get his permission, and he didn't know he was in the movie until
they just went for it.
Years later, some girl showed him the movie, and he was like, "Oh my God, that's me!"
Harmony Korine, what hast thou wrought?
Wow.
It's kind of Excuse me, what?
I suppose better to be in Kids than in Gummo and not know it.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Or Battle Royale 2.
The Deuce.
Seen that?
Oh, is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, don't. Oh, well, yeah, go ahead, watch that. Watch it.
Oh no.
Watch it and report back.
You'll have a gay old time.
I just can't watch things that I know are going to be terrible. And I love the original Battle Royale. I think it's utterly fantastic.
I can't watch things that are terrible. No, not deliberately. I mean, if it's a guilty pleasure, you like it, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing I have a problem with this whole Sharknado phenomenon, which is like
honestly, you just said a word. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know. Honestly, the way you said it, I've got enough confusing me at the minute in this world without having to have was shark something. I don't need whatever that is explained to me. Otherwise, I don't know.
Willful ignorance can be a wonderful thing.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's important to ignore a huge percentage of things which happen in the world.
This is something I'm learning. It's a slow process.
No, it is. The second, like, somebody will start telling me about something, whether it's a particular abuse of an animal or and you just go, nope, I'm not reading that news story. I don't need that permeating my cells, you know.
Yeah, you can't unsee it.
Or somebody's like, there's this great band, and they'll start describing them, and from the physical description, you can tell that your life will be poorer ever here. So anytime somebody even says the name, you condition yourself to have trumpets just playing, so you never get.
I need to work on that.
That would be that's
This is the way I cope with life. It makes
do you have a secret? Like, how'd you?
So, if someone were to say, "Hey, did you hear that new Stained?"
Thing is, you gotta be quick. You gotta be quick, and it's even before the word comes out. It's an instinctive thing. It's like it's like a lizard in his tongue. You know when it's about to happen. And you never. Some people talk about they're sick of some pop artist or whatever, and I suppose it was when I worked in an HMV store one Christmas for a job. I can blank out bad things if I choose. It's great. I've been asked to write a couple of columns for things, but honestly, it's really difficult to get annoyed about that many things.
Right,
unless you're specifically going around being annoyed by things, you know? Because there are annoying things. So one thing a week really annoys me on average.
Sure.
But to be a columnist, you've got to be bloody outraged by 6 things a week. Say.
You must just be walking around constantly going.
Can't believe you can't warm up paninis anymore. It's disgusting.
Something like that.
Pavements are sexist or something, you know, or just anything. Because some things really are annoying, and I think it's best to keep your annoyance for those specifically annoying things.
Keep your hate game strong.
Well,
you know, only only bring it out when it's required. You know, if you put mayonnaise on everything, all you can taste is mayonnaise. But, you know, if you leave it for that special, I don't know what the hell you'd put mayonnaise on, egg and ham sandwich, then it can really, you know, help bring out that flavor.
See, it's funny because you said a word just now, but all I heard was not a fan of the mayonnaise, I gotta say.
Oh, really? Okay. Hey, I use it selectively. It's not even in my top 5 condiments, but when it hits, my God, it hits.
Fantastic. So, with this Christian fitness record, am I right in looking at we're talking, of course, about the new one, Love Letters in the Age of Steam. And the first one, I'm afraid of everything, or I'm scared of everything that isn't me.
That's right, yeah.
Is there seems to be a theme to these covers that almost look like a set of like children's books or something along those lines. Is that a deliberate thing, or is that just something like where the artist is doing his thing and you're like, yeah, that's fantastic?
Well, it was an idea, but as you probably know yourself, when you're putting records together, you have loads of ideas about artwork, and most of them just don't work. But I thought, yeah, try and make it look like some books, and that was about the amount of direction I gave, and just something about, you know, things which are modern and ancient at the same time. And then Michael sent through that, so that's him using his talent and doing his job, and very, I mean, everything goes through me, obviously, but that is just, you know, sometimes you just see like a little cover and it seems to represent on like the page what you put onto a record or a file, and it made me very happy to look at it. Yeah, a little series of children's books, like, you know, like the Chronicles of Narnia or something, except with less really overt Christian preaching.
I was going to say, with less overt Christian imagery is exactly what I was going to say. You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's pretty. You don't really realize when you're a kid because you're being silently indoctrinated. But
I do remember it was when I read them all, and it was when I was reading The Last Battle that I was like, something's weird about this. Like and I kind of had realized I had an iota of suspicion before, but I was like, there's something's with these books. Like, this isn't like reading Lord of the Rings.
No. Yeah. It was like reading the Lord of the Jump Through Rings, isn't it? It's like it's so classically modeled on you know, parts of the Bible. That's a bit ridiculous.
An older friend.
No, it's a bit confusing. So Aslan's Jesus, what's up, you know? So I think that's part of the excitement as well. I mean,
and
he was obviously nuts.
This is something that you can only really get. I enjoy certain phrases that are really only work in the vernacular of the area that they're at. But how it was brought to me as the Great Epiphany was an older friend of mine said, "Dude, the lion dude is the Jesus dude."
And that's the thing, if it can get through to people with a reading age of 5,
right,
then it can get through to fully functioning teenage children, you know? Yeah.
Or male children.
Yes.
Male, female, all kinds of children.
Having little to do with Aslan and whether or not he represents Jesus or not, the inclusion as a very literary dude, you have a way with words, if you don't mind me saying so, and even if you do, I'm going to say it anyway.
You're very kind, thank you.
Is the non-inclusion of lyrics to the songs a purposeful thing?
No, that's will be in the inlay of the album. That's just got the cover out there, and then once you get enough money to fulfill the order for the CDs and get the CDs printed up, and obviously the CDs all have the lyrics in them because people like the lyrics. So, you know, I personally don't always like lyrics on albums, but I suppose I know what I'm singing. So,
well, sometimes
although my bandmates would disagree with me.
Sometimes you can find the lyrics for a band and find that they're so frightfully dull or terrible that it actually ruins the song somewhat. They're like, oh, they're singing that? What I was singing was far better.
Yeah.
I get that, and I get people like the lyrics, but the lyrics are written to, as part of the song, so it's a bit weird when they're taken away from it. Just not how they were intended to be. I don't know, just looked at. Because if I look at them, I think, oh, you're a bit weird,
Sure, and I always feel like if people don't know, they just think it's about food anyway. So.
Well, apparently all the songs I write are about balls, according to my wife. Everything's about balls. Everything's about balls. There's a little bit about how I obviously it's something to do with a complicated relationship with God, and there's always hand claps, and that's it really. But yeah, she's like, "Oh, you've written another song about your balls, I see." I'm like, what the?
Some great balls of fire there for you.
But hey, obviously I've used the word balls in a song and one of these new songs, but it's not meant to be my primary writing inspiration. And if it is, I need to have a word, balls. My balls are otherwise.
Maybe she just likes to get your feathers all ruffled.
Yeah, well, basically she doesn't. We have a no compliments, or rather, she has towards me a no compliments procedure that she follows whenever I play her a new song. So it's good. There's about 4 or 5 of them which are on Christian Fitness album, because I was just writing them at home, and sometimes she'd breeze through and I'd play them, and she'd go, "It's okay." And I go, "What?" And she'd go, "Well, it's never bad, is it?" And then walk away. But that doesn't say anything. I know her, so it's okay. I know her and I love her, so that's okay. But I think her policy in her head is any compliments and that guy will be unbearable. And honestly, I really don't think that's true, but she's sure, so that's where we're going. That's
right.
where we're going. With that.
Yeah, and then that's whether it's true or not, that's the behavior. So
yeah, well, that's it now. To resist against it is like it's like pretending there is no color green. Still there.
Right, absolutely. And that's and I think you hit on an interesting thing, because for those that are not in the know, your lovely wife Julia is also your bandmate in Future of the Left. So is that the same sort of reaction that she gets when you present, say, a Future of the Left demo or something along those lines?
Oh, well, the thing is with the Future of the Left stuff, it's always just written in the room. So that's the. I mean, I can think of maybe over the course of 90 songs about 3 exceptions to that, perhaps. So it's just. It needs to be written at volume, and it needs to be, it needs to have that interaction. Even if all of the ideas are coming from one person, it needs to happen in moments like that. That's not like a policy or whatever. That's just, those songs are primarily, at least as they're first conceived, for being played live. So they've got to be played live and really excite you in a room before you can even contemplate exciting other people with them.
Sure. And weirdly, that song that he was mentioning was Big Balls, I believe, right? That was the Future Left song, Big Balls.
Yeah, Big Balls. Yeah. I thought, obviously when I was 13, I thought Big Balls was one of the funniest things which existed, and I was right. It turns out.
And some people never get past that, and that's fine for them, I suppose. They seem to be happy, so good for them.
Yeah, that's right.
So the difference between the Future of the Left and the Christian Fitness material, then, it seems like with the 2 records that you've put out, there's just sort of a delving into the process of the song and finding interesting sounds and how things fit together without really the necessity of, oh, well, we're going to have to fit this into the set somewhere and this and that.
I suppose there's honestly not a part where you sit down and go, I'm going to do this or this. You just start writing or playing something, and if it's a riff which needs to be a part which needs to be worked with feet to the left, it just suggests itself,
Sure.
It just suggests itself straight away, and I think that's a good thing about doing music for so long and feeling comfortable with it is knowing as well that ideas always come. You've just got to be in the right mood to accept them.
Well, and sometimes you're just in a situation where you have this fantastic idea, and then you go into the room, and then all these people that you've shared a very distinct and important part of your life with, and to share this distinct and important creative venture with, just sit there and sabotage it until it becomes a song.
Yeah. No, or well, in some cases, sabotage it intentionally as well, because they can't be asked. But that happens. I mean, if you've done 1,000 rehearsals, but again, part of the fun is when the things don't work. Part of writing is seeing how people react when a dearly beloved idea doesn't work out. That's really good. You learn, you don't necessarily learn a lot about somebody when they write a brilliant part and everything's amazing, do you?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, we do learn the most from negative experiences often.
That's what I tell myself constantly.
We do. Oh, yes, we do.
Well, and you were kind enough on one of the appearances, I don't remember exactly which one, to talk about that horrific experience, one of the last McCluskey U.S. tours where your equipment was stolen.
Oh, yeah.
And just how that sort of defined... it's a hard thing to bounce back from. And speaking to someone that not to that level has had that same thing happen, it can affect a band in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, I mean, that was awful, and it was really upsetting because just on every kind of level, but particularly financial. But that band would have ended at exactly the same time. It wasn't affected in that sense. It just gave it, I suppose, a little bit more of a story for people to get a hold of. I
Sure.
think there wasn't much, but people do invent stories. Look, how can you put especially in Britain, some of the bands that are successful, like or wildly successful bands like the Libertines. I mean, it's just a story, isn't it? I mean, they do just about everything, but dress up as dolphins and rob SeaWorld or something. It's just ridiculous. But I mean, the thing with McCluskey is there really wasn't that much of a story, really. There's silly little anecdotes, there's silly little things that silly people do from time to time. But yeah, there was a robbery. That was just more of a. At least I think. I don't know if any of my former bandmates were involved in the robbery. Now that would actually make it more delicious in a way.
Certainly, and and so that's got to be interesting. That especially with the people kind of reading whatever they want into the legend and defining it as it's this thing, even when maybe it isn't.
That's fine, and if we're not accused of any crimes, that's fine. I mean, with a band, people want to attach whatever they want to it, as long as it doesn't affect me. That's fine. I genuinely had an interaction with someone once where he said, I love Doodah, so it's too short, and I said, listen to it twice. And he went,
problem solved.
He's like, oh my god, that's brilliant. I'm like, it's not brilliant though. It's not. You just listen to it again.
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, there you go. You can always listen. The records will always be there. Is it?
Just play it again. If you like that, I like that song too. Just fucking play it again.
It's no one's gonna stop. No one will slap you if you try to play that again.
No, absolutely
unless
not.
you're playing it in a cafe or something.
Then you,
yeah,
it's entirely likely you will be slapped. Yes,
but there are different concerns then.
Yeah, that's true.
Concerns.
So, and it's interesting since we sort of wandered into talking about McCluskey. people have resonated with that band that really were not even around and of show-going age, or even, you know, from the music buying age necessarily, that were not around during that time. And it's interesting to see, for me, to see what sticks and what doesn't, and what people get into and what endures. And I certainly think that, you know, at the time, that it was a very worthy band and very interesting. But is it weird to have people like kind of focus on that as like the thing?
It's, you know, it's a little bit annoying sometimes, but most of the time it's fine. So, you know, it's not a lot of people get even to that, you know, to have that much interest, I suppose. And you know what? It's hardly overwhelming. I think that, you know, before you're talking about people who are affected by it, you need to maybe see people who can't walk into a certain kind of club without being, say, recognized or hassled or anything, you know?
I'm right here and I can hear you, by the way.
Yeah. but you know what? But 6 out of 10. But you know, beyond that, it's generally dead nice. The only time it's annoying is when you release a new record, and that's what people talk about. But it's not that annoying. On the scale of annoyance, it's perturbed at worst. Sure,
and it seems like you've taken that, you know, polite interest well in the fact, you know, there was some Future of the Left shows that I saw you guys do a couple of McCluskey songs, but then at that point it's like not like it's a cover really. I mean, 2/3 of the band are playing on stage right there.
It isn't. But the thing is with those songs, firstly, people like them. Secondly, it's really fun and easy to play. I mean, there can't be two rock songs which are just stupider and easier to play than Lightsaber, Cocksucking Blues, and Tell with Good Intentions. They're just stupid songs. I mean, Lightsaber, Cocksucking Blues is just a whole lot of Rosie sped up. That's all it is, you know. And
you know, I never thought about it.
Like, no, it just sped up, and then we did it wrong, and then that was that song, you know. You know, not literally, but that was the way we always. But that's the way we always call a song. We always call "She Will Only Bring You Happiness" our Pavement cover. You know, you just laugh at it. You go, "Fucking, this is the prick that sounds like Pavement now." And people like they're joking. They go, "No, this is what we really think it sounds like." You know.
Well, and that's so. How weird was it then to do those charity gigs? Where
they were great. And then we did a festival over here about a month ago, and that was it was all really, it was fun. We raised a lot of money for people, different things, and made a lot of people happy. With things like Future of the Left, we don't get very many well-paying shows, so when we do, we can't afford to do the charity show. If we do a Cardiff charity show, say, and bring in a couple of £1,000 or something for a charity, that's our fee that we're losing, you know, and we can only do that once a year. I don't think it sounds ruthless at all, actually, when you make as little money as we do. But we weren't going to be doing a McCluskey show, so why not do a McCluskey show and raise money for somebody, you know? We're not affecting our own income there. So, you just got to be pragmatic about things, and it's lovely to be able to do something for people. When you know, being in a small band, you don't have to be selfish for once, because you don't have to be watching the bottom line, because, you know, the bottom line is a big bonus. And we're hoping as well to do a show later in the year for a different charity as well. So yeah, you know, do it maybe once or twice a year and have fun, and yeah, as long as we don't lose money, it's nice to do.
Well, and it seems like it made a lot of people happy to be able to see those songs and to have.
You know what? It was really fucking great as well. You know, it was really great in our own terms. I don't mean an unequivocally great experience for all of mankind and culture. I mean, for us, it was really good fun, and it was at least as good as it had been before, and better as far as I'm concerned. And certainly, I'm fitter now. I can play for longer. you know.
Sure.
You know, we did. I mean, the sets were 20 songs. McCluskey never played for longer than 15. You know, and they weren't 20 songs given polite consideration either. They were, you know, 20 songs that we kicked the shit out of. So it was great. 9.9. No, I'm not going to give it a point. 10 out of 10. That's what that was.
Fantastic, and it's for a good cause too.
Yeah, amazing.
Good causes.
Good causes, yeah. And then, you know, we made a little bit of money. The festival we did this summer as well, which was, I made more money from that one show than I made from a year of touring in McCluskey. Still, don't expect that to be that much money, considering that I once worked out my hourly rate when I was in that band, just because it's interesting to, you know,
that's
it's interesting to do that kind of thing. And it was 9 pence.
Which I'm not great with currency conversion, but I'm going to go ahead and charitably say that's not a living wage.
14 cents an hour, I think.
Yeah, I made the mistake of doing that one time, and I was really bummed out.
It's pretty funny stuff. That
But money doesn't mean anything.
I used to do.
Yeah, it's funny. I always say money doesn't mean anything to all my creditors, and they don't react that well to it. Sorry, go ahead, Falco.
No, I totally forgot where I was. I laughed at your joke, and then my mind reset.
That seems to happen a lot around here.
Yeah, that happens to me.
Well, and so, but all right. So there's the Christian Fitness Records, and Future to the Left. Future to the Left is still playing, but on a sort of like ad hoc, as needed sort of basis. There isn't any large Future to the Left endeavors that are currently on deck.
There's going to be an album, hopefully early next year. That's the plan.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, about two thirds written. We just don't get. It would be a lot quicker, but we just don't get much chance to rehearse. You know, with we did have an album recording scheduled, and Jack got jury duty. So, so we couldn't get out of that. So that delayed that. Maybe that'll be for the best. I don't know. But I've got all the basic things you need for an album now. We've got, 15 songs or something. So if we get another 10 we really like, then we'll go in there and have fun with it.
Well, it is about having fun. Ultimately, you should be doing it if you're enjoying it, right?
Well, it really is. I mean, obviously, there are tense moments when you're close to something which is potentially really good, and it's not quite happening. Sometimes you need to, just to kick it over the edge. Sometimes that, by tense, I mean tense. I don't mean abusive or weird. I mean, and the experience is. I mean, there's not a happier time than just being in a studio on a full-time basis. On those rare occasions when you get the chance to stay at a studio, and I've only done it a couple of times in my life, but even it being an electrical audio, just that the whole thing of working on something you love doing all day and then just walking upstairs and going to bed. Yeah. When you've had to do the crappiest day jobs in the world, that's just mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing, and you wake up the next morning and you go, I'm going to work doing this thing that I love. It's really great experience. So that hopefully later this year, record it, December or January. We'll probably, unless I have a major lottery win, have to do some kind of crowdfunding thing for it again. But that worked really well last time, so I hope it works really well this time as well.
I was going to say that did seem to work okay for you guys. And
yeah.
What was your experience as far as, the prerequisite backlash and just other negatives for it?
I didn't. The negatives are that it's not as easy as you think it is. And you need to be really careful with small print with companies you deal with. And if you've got the time, always send stuff out yourself. We were both working full time at the time, and so we couldn't necessarily commit to that. But I mean, even over the last few years, I've sent out personally about 6,000 packages, and in all that time I think I've had 3 go missing. That whole thing, the checks in the post, or we did post it. I've had 3 go missing in that time, and we dealt with a company for our postage where we were getting like 5% going missing. It was just,
Jeez.
It's a shocking experience because you don't want to let people down. You know, it's easy enough to let somebody down by being a shit band rather than not sending out this. Sending out that stupid fucking poster, you know what I mean? So
Sure,
it's like
yeah.
it's a matter of pride. You don't give somebody bad service unless they deserve it. You know?
Good point.
Indeed.
Fair point.
Yeah. Good life ethos.
Thanks a lot.
So then, well, and I noticed also there's a blog, and there seems to be some movement towards writing of some kind.
There is. I'm working on just a couple of things at the minute, and the reason I set up the blog is that a friend of mine is starting some kind of literary website or something, and he asked for something like a submission, and I sent him something, and he said he'd like to use it, and so I sent him kind of set up that blog in awaiting that, but it just hasn't happened yet. So I always do. I get excited and jump the gun. That always happens. I get the album mastered. I listen to it through twice, and I get even the merest hint of artwork through, and I release the album. You know,
Right.
I'm an absolute idiot. You know, when do we do it? We do it. When's the earliest we can do it? At 9 o'clock. We do it then, because that's the whole thing.
Can we do it at 8:59?
Yeah, you record a new song. You just want to play it to someone.
Yeah, it's
Listen,
hard.
listen
it's
to
hard
the
sit
song. Listen to this. Listen to it. Listen to it again. Listen to it. Yeah.
Well, and it seems like that it's working out okay for you for as far as connecting with people directly, you know, through the power of the internet and social networking and whatnot. But do you find that? I mean, clearly, we live in a world now where there isn't these larger outlets where people kind of find things. People kind of find things with these scattered, crazed, broken down, small worlds that are largely composed of their friends group or like whatever influencers that they happen to be. And what's the biggest change you think that you've seen from that?
I genuinely didn't understand the question. it wove a pattern through my mind, and I thought it was headed down one alley, but then it went right down I don't know where, and got lost down a storm drain. I don't know where it went.
I've been accused of worse.
I would imagine, you beastly fellow.
Yeah, so I guess what I was trying to say is that stuff is different now than it used to be. And,
that's right, baby.
And what do you find? What do you find are the biggest changes for you, and what that means? Music-wise,
Well,
I'm speaking of.
at this moment in time, I'm been lucky enough to have not done a crappy. Well, I say crappy. That's unfair. I've done some decent jobs, and I've met some really nice people doing them. But I've been lucky enough not to have to do that for about a year, because of a combination of money I've made doing things and also a tax rebate. It's,
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, though. There is something which gives you self-respect about actually paying tax, I think, It shows that your earnings are high enough to fully engage with society. So for me, a tax rebate it's a double-edged sword in that regard. But it's been great to take, when you're doing a job, and I've been lucky enough probably since I was 20 to probably spend about 3 years of that time not having to work because of music things, and it's an amazing experience to be able to do it, to have all day to all that time trying to take advantage of it. It's very, very lucky, because I used to get so frustrating even doing my last job. You just want to read a book, and you'd end up reading 40 minutes a day or something, and wanting to fucking explode something. But this won't last forever, but it's really good. I'm just spending all day writing music and other things, and reading books and going for runs, because I know in about 6 months' time I'll have my head in a photocopier somewhere, weeping softly until it eventually electrocutes me.
Oh,
One can hope not.
No, I was. Don't get me that. I meant that whole bit to sound a lot happier than it eventually did. My natural melancholy got in the way. What I'm basically saying is everything's pretty good at the minute. So carry on, just trying to make good things and keep your health, and it's about all you can ask for.
Sure, and it seems like you're putting out the good work as well, and it seems like it has an audience, and
it does. Yeah, it's
a great
really
thing.
nice. I mean, it would be, God. I mean, even we talk about this. It would be nice if it was slightly bigger, but if it isn't, then it just isn't, is it? So
we talk about how it would be nice if it was slightly bigger. I don't think I've had that conversation.
You came into that clause late.
Yeah.
I guess everybody said that from time to time, and that's why obtuse angles were invented.
Absolutely.
If you just look at it the right way.
You look at it in the correct light.
See, you can see it as sex, or you can see it as, an act of geometric unification.
It's not the ocean of the motion, the motion. It's the angle of the boat.
Yeah, it's the
It's something along those lines for sure.
yeah.
Well, and so, and you spoke earlier about there was, the thoughts of people that kind of like blanket themselves in cynicism and kind of become this trope of the cynical musician, the failed musician, the one that that one's still at it, huh? I wonder why, huh? And have you found that that's common amongst people that you sort of came up with? Or is that something that's a kind of a rare breed?
I don't know. Probably not, actually. I think, obviously musicians generally dress ridiculously and say stupid things and have haircuts that they try for a bit, But generally speaking, apart from being, I suppose, a little bit more noticeable, musicians are generally nice people, aren't they? Who like to do something because it makes them feel nice, and I suppose they hope it makes other people feel nice. And most of them, don't know, just I suppose gradually scale it back into their normal everyday lives. Our drummer Jack's constantly in the process of doing that, with kids and a job. So our band has to be scheduled like you'd schedule going to a christening sometimes, but that's just the way it is. That's what the people involved in the band are, and that's just what life is.
You could also start the band practices with a baptism as well, and that could be a good way to kick things off. Perhaps.
You could, whichever way they choose to go. I mean, that's a parent's prerogative, which had the benefit of alliteration. Sounds good.
So I'd like to, if you would indulge me, which, by the way, should probably be the name of my autobiography.
Will you indulge me?
I would like to.
I would like if you would indulge me. ...
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Some real Bill Cosby shit.
I think.
Whoa, that would be some real Bill Cosby shit. Woo!
Yeah,
well, too real.
There we go. That's definitely a thing. It needs to be addressed.
I heard about the Bill Cosby thing. Yeah, crazy.
Did you hear about that over there? Did you know?
Did we? Yeah, we heard about that. Don't worry about that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not one for innocent until proven guilty, but. And it's a big but, isn't it? Jesus. Well,
I already decided, too, that if I ever were to write a political book, I would certainly call it Hyperbole, Bluster, and Harsh Invective.
Ouch.
Absolutely.
That sounds painful.
I don't know. It sounds pleasantly undulating, I would say.
It sounds like Planet of the Apes. You know that what you're getting to by the title of the work. So
Let's go with that. Yeah.
what I was going to say is that if we could, I'd like to play a game-ish sort of thing. I'll bring you a song title.
Okay.
And if you could tell me what you were thinking of with that song, or if there's some interesting story or some kind of side note.
You can try this. We'll try it, but I don't know. I did this kind of thing once before, and it fell a bit flat. But let's try and defeat that.
Well, if it sucks, don't worry. I'm going to bail the hell out of it. So
okay, good. Just use your judgment. That's good.
The song on the first Future Left record, Suddenly It's a Folk Song.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you what it's about. I can't remember, but I do know the title is from a song that Peter Sellers sang in a film. Can't remember which film it is now. I'd have to Google it. I can't remember. But Peter Sellers sings it in a film, and that title just stuck with me. And then I don't know, if you've got a title like that, it starts with something which sounds as though it should mean something, and then after a while, after it's assigned to a song, the song just takes on that meaning. It's hard to accurately describe. It's not, songs aren't things like the sky is blue, these provable absolutes, or rather the sky appears to be blue.
Right, it's right. Reflection.
Yeah, but let's not go too deeply into the science. but yeah, so it's so I can't really tell you what the song is about, but I do remember Peter Sellers, which makes me think of Dr. Strangelove, and so that's a good feeling.
Sure. How about Failed Olympic Bid?
Oh well, that one's pretty literal. It was obviously imagining a situation where London hadn't won the bid for the Olympics, and as a result, all the different scenarios which would come off from that. The thing with that song is we did it in a session for Radio 1 for the quote unquote punk show, and there's some lyrics in that song. The first one says, "I've got a hole for Sebastian Coe." Sebastian Coe being a quite famous British middle distance runner in the 80s. He won lots of gold medals and things, and he's head of the British Olympic Committee, whatever it is, and he was instrumental in London getting that bid. And he's a bit of a Tory fucker at the best, at the best of times. But I got a hole for Sebastian Coe. Saddam Hussein won't be needing it now. They removed that from the broadcast. They removed Sebastian Coe because they felt that the attack on him was bizarre. And then there was a part in the song later on where it says a heart disease ward underwritten by McDonald's, and they took out the reference to McDonald's because they felt that with a balanced diet, McDonald's wasn't guaranteed to give you heart disease. This is on the punk show.
Wow,
this is on the punk show. You're like, yeah, but I don't know. It just
wow.
Yeah.
That's were they a sponsor? I mean, was that the concern?
Well, the thing is, the BBC, who are still the finest broadcasting, finest broadcasting company in the world, at least to the best of my knowledge and allied with my tastes, are so shit scared of what the Conservative government could at that stage and will continue to do with them now. They tread on eggshells, in terms of offending people. It's I did a Alan as a Cowboy Killer at a John Peel session in 2003 or whatever the hell it was, and the song Alan as a Cowboy Killer, the engineer said we couldn't record it because the lyrics were obviously about paedophilia.
Huh.
Which is which was news to me. You know. I mean, you shouldn't take everything anyway. But what a
and that's one of the other ones that was actually on the list. So Alan is a Cowboy Killer.
But let me reiterate. That was for the fucking John Peel show.
Yeah, right.
So what I just said is funny on a couple of levels.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, depending on what you know about John Peel.
I get the reference.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, that's interesting, huh?
Yeah, it was just just one of those quirks which happen, I suppose, where real life rushes up to your band and shakes its hand and says, "Hi, I'm real life. I'm weird," and then fucks off again.
How about Army Eritrea?
Army Eritrea. Well, I just loved the sound of the title Army Eritrea for a start. It's got a rhythm and an exoticness to it straight away. I mean, obviously the idea of it, Army Eritrea, it's like, giving somebody the means to destroy themselves, I suppose. That's what that is. That's what, the whole idea of that song is, but it isn't really thought about any more deeply than that. It's just, when songs happen, they just happen, and the words which end up tied to the different bits just end up being right. And if they're not right, you change them around. There's not a lot of thought goes into the lyrics. So it's with some exceptions, but just have a beer and throw them down at the last minute, and then sing them, and then an odd line won't work, and so try something else, and then it's fine. It's just loads of for me at least, it's loads of fun like that. Sometimes it's a bit more pressure if it's been a song you've been counting on for ages or something, a song that could be special, at least in your own terms, then you can get a bit tense. But most of the time it's really good fun. You just got this thing the thing which didn't exist until you started to put it on tape or Pro Tools 2 hours ago, and suddenly you're just making noises over it, and in an hour's time it could be this really special entity which didn't exist before. I love that feeling. I don't understand why musicians don't talk about that all the time, because it's amazing. It's such a, I don't want to say it's a drug. I'm not a total dick, but it's an amazing feeling, and that's what musicians should be going on about all the time. We wrote this song the other day, and I felt like my head was going to fly off. Right. For me.
Instead, they're
maybe I'm crazy. I don't know, but maybe I'm not.
Instead, they're always going off about their balls, and it's like you're
always going on about their balls. Yeah, no, that's my focus apparently.
That's what I hear.
That's my focus. That's my Camelot.
Fantastic. So what about You Need Satan More Than He Needs You?
Right. Well, again, that was a song title ages before we had the song. I think we had 8 songs called that. And because You Need Satan More Than He Needs You. If you don't like, was there like a triptych? Was there like a part 2, part 3, part 4 sort of situation going on? No, there were just songs. Some of which, it's when you've got a title like that, you're not entirely sure at first. Is that funny? Is that detached? Is it serious? What's the mood of it? Because the titles usually come second. They come out of the mess and the whatever of the chaos of the song. But with that title was there, and it was difficult. Like we were trying too hard with the title, And then in the end, it's like some ridiculous. It's like from the musical Stomp or something. It's just it's ludicrous. It's really, really ham and really, really stupid, but really good. It's I don't know. It's like an argument with someone who they're acting really stupidly, but you think they might be intelligent, so you don't get involved. There's just something about that song. It's got sounds like a pig in a war.
Nice. And how about Manchasm?
Honestly, we were just messing on. That's how that song was written. That was just messing on. That's all that was. And then you had that, and you're like, yeah, play that and sing about Colin. Yeah, let's do that. And at the end, you're like, oh, I think we've written a song. You know,
Right.
You listen back to it and you go, I don't really want it to, but that just works, doesn't it? And it's just one of those times. I mean, you don't get, with the best intention and even with everybody on, you don't always get those kind of movements. But I'd never played a keyboard before. That was the first time I ever played a keyboard, and so it was just weird touching some keys in a different way, you know. And that, song just happened. It was loads of fun as well. You don't take yourself that seriously as a band if you're playing with other bands, but that was a one where we found somebody to come in and listen to the song. You know, listen to our song. I work in a rehearsal rooms. Fuck off. Listen to our song. We've never done this before. We will never do this again. Listen to our song, right? And at the end he goes, yeah, that's pretty good actually. And you're like, yeah, I know. There you go. Now get out, because nobody listens to us for this, you know. But it's just one of those, you know, moments where you know you've done, where you leave the room knowing that something which has certainly enriched your life a lot has just come to existence in those moments. And I don't know, with Manchasm, the lives of up to 1,394 people, I would think.
Nice. What about Johnny Burrell Afterlife?
That title was I think Jimmy came up with that title, but I couldn't tell you what I was thinking when I wrote that, apart from just you know, I've got Julia, again, she doesn't think that song was about my balls, but she does think that song's about me because I have physically a big head, you know. So
how big is it?
Yeah, it's kind of big head sized. Yeah, pretty. If you can imagine a head,
like a watermelon.
No, not like a. No, come on now, no
Brenna, come on,
come on. Sure. Anyway, yeah, but it's a big head. I tell Julia I only married her because she's got a little head, a little pea head. So we have a normal head kid.
You have a chance of it evening out.
Yeah, but obviously that's a lie, so it doesn't really resonate with any truth. But Kelson had quite a big head as well when he was in the band, so we were scared that a lot of the audience would lose perspective, you know, because big heads. I mean, different shape though. Kelson's is kind of more on its side, whereas mine's more classically big. Yeah. It's got more of a Mekon thing going on.
He looks like a football.
Yeah. No, you know, that exaggerated a bit. Kelson is I say this as a deeply heterosexual man. Kelson is a very attractive.
Yeah, he's a handsome dude. Yeah,
he looks like he's a straddling Viking-style man, albeit one who's shit with time.
With a football head.
But you see, that's harsh. Yeah. Oh, I feel as if I haven't so much dug a hole as
I dug the hole.
The press to the hole.
I dug the hole. You just gave me the shovel. That's all.
Yeah, I gave you the shovel. And, yeah, wow.
It'll be a headline on Tiny Mixtapes tomorrow, I'm sure.
but quite a big head, quite a literally big-headed band in that sense.
So last one of these that I would ask you, and the one that on the first album that I was most fascinated by for Christian Fitness was, of course, Carthage Must Be Destroyed, but we went over that already and what that meant. So the one I was kind of concerned with, not concerned, concern is the wrong word.
Concern's a good word, isn't it? Because it's all in the tone.
Falco, I'm a little concerned about this song title. The feel-good hit of the second trimester. Yeah. What's that all about then?
You choose the ones. I don't know. I can't remember. It's just, I think, to be quite honest with you, it was imagining being a baby. Because there's quite a few babies around our lives at the minute, different people having them as they do, in loving and some non-loving relationships. It just, I'd obviously, the way stuff works with me is it just gradually, it bounces off my massive head for a while, and then it just eventually pervades my consciousness. So if I hear the word trimester 50 times over the course of 2 months, sooner or later I write a song with trimester in the title, you know. Sure. I'm like a really sodden area of grass. I just absorb it. And so yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that the vocal performance, if we can call it that, on that song was me listening back to the song for the first time and going, that, you know, not writing down any words or anything and just doing that. Half the songs on that album are pretty much just like that, which might sound lazy, but when I tried to redo the vocals with lyrics that I'd written out, it sounded like a man reading from a lyric sheet, you know.
Yeah.
Rather than a rock and roll song, where, I mean, while I was recording those songs, I was a crazy person leaping around my living room, probably out of my mind on 5% lager, you know. So as a result, the performances have that spirit, you know. I remember being asked by somebody, you know, how do you make a really lo-fi sounding recording? You go, well, you just make it, right. You just make it in a lo-fi way, and they look at you like, oh my god, you know, is there a Pro Tools plug-in for that? No, there's not. You don't. Yeah.
Maybe that's where your fortune can come from. You can make a Pro Tools plug-in to make things sound lo-fi.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, the Shambles Tron. takes out all the bottom end and makes the singer sing deliberately one note sharp.
Makes everything sound like it's recorded on a $20 Radio Shack microphone.
Yeah. Or like a demo by any band who tell you they're influenced by Pavement.
Oh.
Pavement's good.
Just because you're influenced by Pavement doesn't mean that you can't buy a fucking tuner pedal.
Right, exactly. Please. And actually, in one of my old bands, we actually had a tuning pedal that nobody actually used, that we would just keep with us, and we would leave it on stage for bands.
Like as a totem or something.
No, we would bring it up to the stage and be like, here, you might want to use this.
Oh, that's not nice.
Well, hey, neither was the music. I mean, let's be clear, it was a kindness.
Doesn't it? But, I mean, for me, like, whenever there's like a young band, if you've got any advice for us, buy a tuning pedal, stop playing Sweet Child of Mine while your singer's tuning in between songs. Stop. Don't tell them your MySpace page, you know. Don't tell people the song title. Don't do it. Never. If people don't know you, it should be a rule. Do not tell people the song title, you know. Because it just comes across as, this song is called You Don't Know and You're Gonna Forget. You don't know and you're gonna forget every single one. It's just, but more than anything, buy a tuner pedal, please. You know, just fucking buy it.
It's good advice, really.
But it's really simple, isn't it? Though it's really simple. Effects generally whatever, but just, even if you're going to be out of tune, at least you should know you're out of tune. You know. Well,
that's why we carry that extra one around with us, in case.
At least have the option of being in tune, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have to use it. It was just there. Hey, you might want to use
suggestion. If we can do song 4, guys, the suggested chord is C.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Falco, this has been great. Thanks for coming on the show again. This is I'm not going to say unprecedented, but a rare echelon of people that are guests on this show to be a third appearance. I think.
Maybe a first. Totally precedented. Oh, that's fine.
I was gonna say we'll have to come up with a good backstage
That's an
gift.
unprecedented third appearance.
Isn't there some sort of requirement for a special skit like SNL or something? How do you do that on the radio? Can you be a Foley for us?
Yeah, I don't know how that would work, but
No, I think dimensional physics prevents our Congress.
We have to do like a sound bite or something.
Soundbite?
I don't know, like yell something.
yell something. What is it?
Can't yell. I've got neighbours, and it's 2:45 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
You could give the station a station ID if you would like. So just
I could do that for you another time.
Yeah.
When I raise my voice, because right now, I mean, even the cats are looking at me like I'm making a bit of a ruckus, which frankly, considering how they behaved earlier today, is a bit of a fucking cheek.
little hypocritical.
Those damn cats.
We've got
They're so sassy.
sassy in the that doesn't quite cover it. Our male cat Genghis, he's he virtually marches through the bedroom banging a fucking drum every morning. It's astonishing. It's astonishing the volume he can produce.
That's a really cute image, though.
John Bonham the cat. Don't know, man.
Fantastic. Is there any song off of the new record that you'd like to have?
Play The Good Sword, because that's got a pretty accurate impression of Colin Newman from Wire in the chorus.
Fantastic.
That one. I like that was the first one I wrote for that album, I think. But yes, that's nice. Play that. But it is. Somebody thinks it sounds like Colin Newman from Wire. It's like that's absolutely 100% the idea. So well done. Here, have a small chocolate bar.
Yeah, and it just as in with many things in life, you kind of wish you had like sound effects that would go along with that when somebody gets something right.
Yeah, absolutely. But good luck to everybody. That's why I say good luck to absolutely everybody.
Falco, thanks so much for joining us again. It's been great, man.
Thank you.
No problem. Enjoy the rest of your show, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye bye.
Have a good evening. There he goes.